Okay, so once again, good morning. This is Advanced Hapara. Yesterday we had the beginning Hapara. For people who were maybe slightly familiar with it, I am going to go over a couple of things I went over yesterday that I went over with the beginning group, and then we'll get into the stuff that we're doing for today. For those of you just joining us, because I notice a few more people are popping in, I do have you muted upon entry, and any questions that you have, please post in the chat. And Jerry's moderating that for me, so she will be able to let me know your questions. Our basic rules, the same as for Zoom, is just, post your questions. Let's be kind to each other. I know that for some of us, we might be a little bit stressed because this is kind of uncharted territory, and it's an exciting time. We get to learn new things. I'm learning something new every day, and I guess what else? I can't wait to see what I learned today in this in this fun. Okay, so anything to start off other than a good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, Pam. I'm going to, okay, so am I recording? I am recording. All right, just want to make sure. Unfortunately, there are no captions available right now live, but when the video is completed, Steve will be, and it gets processed, Steve will be adding the captions, and then it'll be available at our website at palmdalesd.org/edtech. Jerry, if you could put that up in the chat again, that would be great. And you can view any of the ones from yesterday, any of the videos that we did yesterday, our trainings yesterday, will be available on that site. And by the end of today or tomorrow morning, today's sessions will be up, so you can view that at your leisure. And all right, let's see. So let's get started. I stopped the screen share, but oh, okay. There we go. So I know I'm just on me, right? I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, except for Zoom is everywhere. Come back to here and share. Thank you for your patience with me, by the way, as we go through all of this, because it's kind of a new thing. So we are going to, I'm going to talk to you about logging in via ClassLink. You probably saw in the message, or maybe your administrator talked to you about having to add them to Google Classroom if you were giving your, disseminating your information, your lessons through Google Classroom. If you choose to use Workspace, it's kind of the same thing, and I'll show you where to do that if you're not already familiar. And then we'll talk about Workspace. So I'm actually gonna go live on my Hapara right now. And I'll make this a little bit smaller so it's out of my way. Okay, so when you get to, okay, so ClassLink, let me get to my ClassLink first, actually. So in ClassLink, here we go. In ClassLink, if you don't already have Hapara added, it is over here on the far right. I don't know if you can see my mouse over there. It says Hapara Teacher. If you don't have it added, you would add it through here. Many of you may be going through My Teacher Dashboard or teacherdashboard.com. But if you go to the app library and you choose Teacher Library, you can type in Hapara, it'll be there. For your students, it will be in the student library, same thing. They would go to type in Hapara and they would be able to find it there, the student edition. So then they can add that to their ClassLink, and you can give them those directions in your Google Classroom if you are using that. A lot of people tend to use Google Classroom and Hapara together. And, oh my goodness, these tools, I just don't know where to put them where they're not in my way. Okay. This is the basic landing page for you when you get into Hapara, and we're going to go into, I'm going to click on the Workspace button. Now Workspace, Hapara just kind of revamped their whole Workspace section, so it looks a little bit different if you haven't been in there in a while. Move this over here. So now they have the list of my workspaces. They have owned by me, shared with me. This is if you're working with a partner, and especially if there's anybody here who's at a dual immersion site. If you didn't stop in yesterday, I'll talk about it again, how you can get your partner teacher on there with you. And I can't tell you that much about my labels because that's the first time I've seen it was yesterday. I threw some labels on here. It's probably a way for you to find it. If you had a lot of workspaces, you could filter through looking for your labels. In fact, let me just try that out right now. If I type in 7th and I search owned by me, nope, okay, that's not how that works then. Well, that's good to know. I thought maybe the labels would help it. And this professional learning is stuff from Hapara. Those looks like those are my trainers. That could be from Hapara though. So actually, first thing I'm going to talk about is the Discover. This used to be located in a different place. This used to be when you were in your workspace, you would go to search public workspaces. Now it's just under Discover. You can search by your grade level. You can search by subject. There's not tons and tons out there right now, but like, for example, if you were a 6th grade math teacher, you could click on 6th, mathematics, and there are some that have already been created. Looks like there's only about 9 here, and you can click on them, check out to see if there's anything here that you might like, enjoy. If you like it, you make a copy of it. Remember, it'll copy all the groups out, but those will be editable once you have your own copy. And it'll copy out all of these, but depending on the creator, you may or may not have access to these. I've noticed quite a few people though, if I click on their document or their form, sometimes they request access button or request edit access button or something, and they'll open up those permissions so that you can make a copy. I found people have been very nice about that and generous in sharing that information. So if you haven't had a chance to explore the previously created by other teachers, or if you're creating some amazing workspaces of yourself, go ahead and make those public. And if you don't know how, I'll show you how to do that too. But it would be great to share what you're doing with others because, you know, we kind of all need to help each other out right now. So I'm going to go back to my workspaces. And this is a workspace that I made a while ago and then was editing yesterday. So starting, first of all, are there any questions before we get started, Jerry?
Say again?
Any questions before we get started here?
No, just on video quality, actually. And I was recommending to perhaps, if you're getting a message about that, there are video settings on the arrow at the bottom left next to the stop video icon. And that might be a chance to change maybe video settings for quality. It's possible. I don't know if we're having bandwidth problems, but certainly the audio is important too. So that was the only suggestion I had for video quality.
Okay, yeah, I know in the advanced settings you can choose, well, a lower quality or the HD version. And so if you use the HD, of course, it's going to be, the best way I can say is it's like sucking more power out of you. So, you know, be careful. I do have to say though.
Yeah, it might be, I was going to say it might be an idea to close other windows at this point and try that too. Yeah.
True.
Anyway.
Okay. All right. So, and then, yeah, Jerry, when you're not talking, go ahead and mute because I don't know if I've heard like phone sounds or something, but it gets me distracted. And yeah, something happens. I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe it's the actual chat itself, but
my dogs aren't actually barking at this moment, which is just amazing.
Shocking.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
Okay. So on this workspace, so again, this is since this is an advanced class, you guys are already familiar with it. I'm sure you know that if you hover over the titles, you can change it. To add an administrator would be the same thing. Basically, if you wanted to add a teacher to your workspace, and it's you come all the way down on this, as soon as you click your workspace, come all the way down here where it says teachers, you can add a teacher. Here is where you would type in your co-teacher. If, for example, if all of 6th grade math was going to be working together on lessons, everybody could work on the same workspace. And then when it comes time to actually share that lesson. So if Jerry and I were co-teachers, she could share, if I created the workspace and added her to it, she can throw in all her content, we can manage it, we can manage the groups, and then she would go and make a copy so that she could give that to her students. And then she can tweak it however she wants. But we could do all the collaborating on the one workspace. So this is a really cool feature. And I don't think you have to have Hapara turned on for you to be able to use Workspace. You found that out when you did a Workspace class, right, Jerry? So, lost my train of thought here. Oh, so this is where you would add your administrator. Go ahead.
Lower grade teachers can make a workspace if they just can't push it out to students, but it does keep all their links and their materials for them and for their other teachers if they're working together to
well,
create,
they can push it out. Oh, you're talking about like first grade or kindergarten.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. The lower grade teachers who don't have Hapara enabled, or any, maybe a new, right, or even a new teacher who came to the district and maybe didn't have it enabled because they didn't go through Chromebook Academy yet.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, so if your admin does not, because I had to do this yesterday, if when you go to add your administrator and it says that they don't have rights or they're not recognized, go ahead and shoot me an email, let me know, and I can go enable that for them. I did that for a couple of administrators yesterday. So just, you can shoot me an email later, and mmshields@palmdalesd.org, and I will fix that. Okay, so here's a new feature. You'll notice over here on the left, it says students can add cards, and there's a toggle switch. It used to default to this resources, and I renamed it Let's Learn, recall it resources again. Oops. But it used to default to allowing these two center tiles where students could add their resources. They could add evidences here. And like, for example, in this example I have here, where is it, down here? On this card, I have video, please keep presentation to under 3 minutes. And you'll notice that there's not one of these evidence pieces here. It's just blank. On the student side, they have the opportunity to add evidence. They get this square right here, at least this top square, where they can add their media. If I don't add one, they will have the opportunity to add one. But if I have students cannot add cards, well, they might be able to edit that card. This is brand new, so I'm not too sure. Yeah, they can add to this card, like they can click on it and add their media. They just can't add new cards to this column when this is toggled off. If it's on like this, then they can. So be aware of this new feature. I kind of like that feature because I really don't like the idea of students adding cards, because if I want them to add information, like for example, on this particular card, where I have research and my directions, it's find a video, find a resource, add it to the correct sheet. I've created a Google Sheet here where, for example, ecosystem research. So each of the groups that I created, rainforest, deciduous, tundra, they can add their resources here. I've got my drop down so they can put what period they're in, they can enter the URL and whatnot, and it'll keep it all on one file where the students can access it, instead of my entire, this column becoming 17 miles long. So that's kind of if you haven't tried something like that and you were wondering how to unclutter this resource column, 2 ways. One, you can turn off the card, the ability for them to do that. But if you do want them to contribute, maybe adding something like a Google Sheet or a Google Doc into this space would be a great way to keep it organized. Yes, Jerry?
We have a quick question too. Is this going to be a problem with students using tablets? Nadine asks, will they be able to do that, or phones? Will this affect their ability?
Using Hapara on their phones?
Yeah, maybe, interacting with Hapara and adding information.
Well, so here's the thing with the tablets. For example, like our iPads, right? As a teacher, you can use Hapara on your iPad if you've enabled Chrome, if you've downloaded Chrome from self-service. or just downloaded it yourself. Hapara does not work on Safari. You need Chrome. And I guess it would depend on what kind of phones that the students have, because if their phones, like when I prefer, if I'm going to work on anything Google, I prefer not to use my iPad, just because there's limited features using the iPad versus being able to use a web browser. Or I should say, using the apps, the Google apps on a tablet, they don't always have all the features.
I
So,
can
but
imagine they would be able to click on things at least though and see some of the instructions maybe,
absolutely,
and videos and,
absolutely.
okay.
I can't promise it would be easy for them using it this way, but I don't think much more different than using Google Classroom, which is again another non-Apple product. So, but again, their tablets might be a Samsung or something else. So, okay. Hopefully I answered that one okay. If not, let me know. Okay, so we're going to talk about added teachers, added admin. Okay, so card styling. So here's the fun bits. Okay, so we're going to get into the fun bits, and I'm going to show you some cool stuff. This is, so when you're a kid or a teacher who's got a new thing, you notice when kids are setting up video games and they've got like these profiles and they get to choose their avatar. And we did it when we had ClassLink. As soon as we showed teachers ClassLink for the first time, they're like, oh, I can customize my background. Oh, look, I can change my profile picture. Oh, I can change the way that the icons look. So here's the fun part in styling it. Maybe it's because I was a Barbie kid and I used to play dolls and dress up. Maybe that's why I like it so much. But there's a lot of things you can do to kind of customize your workspace so that it's more appealing, it's more interesting. I mean, we know that we've got to keep kids' attention, and if this whole screen were black and white and gray and that's it, it would be kind of boring and I wouldn't know what might be important. And I'm not really talking about groups too much, so if there's a question that comes up about groups later, you can let me know and we can talk about that. But notice I've got my groups color-coded, and what I did in this particular example here is that on my card, and when I click edit, here's where I can choose my card color. I can color code them to match the groups. So for example, here on my, I have an article from Newsella, which, by the way, if you're not aware, Newsella has been opened up to our district, so yay, for the rest of the year for free. But I grabbed an article, and in Newsella, if you're familiar with it, you can choose an article and you have different levels of the Lexile levels, or different like reading levels. And so maybe for this example, I've got this group right here. I've got what is an ecosystem here. This is my rainforest group. It's color coded. This is, and hopefully I'm not making your eyes all loopy with the scrolling. This is my desert group, and this is my everybody else. You can see I have 7 groups added to this card, and I could make this a neutral color if I wanted. And if you remember how to assign it to your groups is when you're editing the card, you come in here. So right now, the only group it's assigned to is teacher planning, but if I wanted it to go to my rainforest group, because my rainforest group might be my lower level readers, or however you call it, just remember the kids can see these titles if you put them in that group. So if you name the group My Rock Stars, yay, they'll know it. If you label the group, the Pond Scum, that's probably not a very good name for a group. I was saying yesterday, if you name them, these are my favorite kids, okay, maybe as long as all the rest of them say these are also my favorite kids. I have stories, you have no idea. But so I make it available to my rainforest kids, and they now see this article. And the cool thing is if I were to have a group discussion on maybe a Padlet online, or I think I have a Padlet somewhere. I've added it somewhere in here. If I have a group discussion on there, I can ask questions about the article, and my low-level reading group, my strugglers, will have the same article as my higher reading level group. And they can all participate in the discussion and feel a part of it. So, and then like I said, I have it color coded here, so it makes it interesting for the students to have different color cards to look at. So that's one feature. Let me real quick, I'm going to check my thing. Oh, here, I forgot this part. Okay, that's okay. So Workspace, and you can, I know it's not very large here, but you can see it. What Workspace is used for, what we're going to basically talk about today is putting all of the digital content on one platform. And we're going to talk a little bit about the personalizing and differentiating, and really just making it a nice place for students to access everything. You can even link other workspaces into this workspace. So that just depends on how you want to do it. But we are going to create a visual workspace now. I'm going to talk to you about adding images, card styling, and a really cool extension that you might want to add to your Chrome. It's called Color Picker Eyedropper. And I'll show you how that works in a little bit. But some of it all starts with this big help button right here that's at the bottom of the screen. Let's see, I got my little screenshot there. So down here on the bottom left, if you can see that, it says help. And when I click on the help, any question I have about Hapara, I can type in here. And right now I want to know how do I style the cards? So card styling. And the top result comes up as a workspace card styling. When I click on that, it gives you copyable basic HTML. And HTML, I think, stands for Hypertext Markup Language, I think is what that stands for. You can literally copy this out. So my bold word, I'm going to Command C, copy that. And let's say I'm going to go over here into this. I paste it in, but in between this, I can go exit ticket. Oops, let's spell it right. And when I click out to the side, there it is. So it makes it in bold. Oh wait, how do you know that's bold as opposed to something else? Let me write something that's not bold. Do this thing. Okay. Yay. I don't know. Okay, so you can see how it's in bold as opposed to this. You can grab different colors. There's a whole list of colors. You can put bulleted lists in here. So over here on how you can see, oh, you can do subscript. You can scroll through these. It'll show you basically how it shows up. And there is more. Over here on where I put my goals, maybe I want to call this standards, learning objectives. I have my NGSS, and you can see that I have text in red. I literally grabbed this straight off of the NGSS website and then pasted it in here and then grabbed that link so I could type it in red so it looks just like the NGSS standards. On my vocabulary card, showing more, I decided to change it. I did the same thing. I grabbed the text, but then I changed the color to green. And it's pretty intuitive, so you can kind of type the color you want: teal, light green, forest green, hunter green. And some of those colors actually come up. So that's kind of cool. You can make it stand out that way. Another thing you can do is add images. So let's say for my learning objectives here, I'm going to make a new card. So I'm going to come over here and I will call this learning objectives. And I go to this is what you will learn. Okay, and let's see, I've got a learning objectives screen here, and I've got my word. I just made a little shape, and I'm not sure the exact shape of this. You'll have to play around with it. But if I go to File and I download this as an image, let's say a PNG, and then I come back over to my card, and I'm going to upload this image, it will put it in my title. So now I have this learning objectives card. It's not the same color as the card. I can fix that too. I can choose this color. Just so you know, I pre-chose that color. If I want it to be a different color, let's say I want it to be pink, I can come back here, let me edit my card. I'm gonna get rid of that. You don't see it now, but when I refresh you, oh, there it is. let's say I wanted that learning objectives to be that color pink. So here's the cool thing. And maybe Jerry, I'll paste, see if I don't know if I can paste this in the chat, but color picker extension.
We have a quick question too, Melissa.
Sure.
Have you allowed teachers to go out and come back in your settings for
The
the
Zoom?
Yeah.
I don't think Zoom allows that. I don't think that's a me thing. I think that's a Zoom thing. If you leave, you can't come back in. But try it. I mean, if they
Okay.
got something to do and they want to try come back in, they can try it.
Well, we have a teacher whose phone just shut them out. It said they were in driving mode. So, in other words, their device kind of tanked. I guess they could use another device. So, okay, just
yeah, I would try that. As I understand it, Zoom does not allow it. So if you get kicked out, you're out. But you know, Dan might know more, and if they attend Dan's Thursday class, they'll learn a little bit more about how Zoom works and the fun things there.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, thanks. Keep going. Sorry.
All right. So this color picker eyedropper, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to see if I can paste it. If there's a way I can paste this in a chat. Let's see. Can I go to chat? I think I can. Oh, look what I can do. Yep, I can post it. Okay. So this color picker eyedropper is this little, like a target with a rainbow color here. And I love this for everything, because if I want to match this card, I just use my color picker, gives me a little target. I click it here and I get the code. I Command C and grab that code, X out of this. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Come back over to my drawing. I'm going to right click here and look at my background, and I'm going to add a custom color to my background. Come over here to the hex and Command V, paste that color. Okay. Let me see, I want to make this a little bit, stand out a little bit more. Change this to maybe a dark purple with maybe a white. Okay, good enough. And again, download that image, JPEG image. Sounds good. Go back to my card. And I'm going to upload a new one, drag my new color in, or my new card in. And there it is. And now when I hit that I'm done, it matches. So that's one thing. You can add other things. Anything you want to add to your header, you can add. So if I want to add this little target thing, learning objectives, maybe set it behind it. Send backwards. No, that is just too dark. Never mind. I'll just bring it down here. And same thing. And I can add that to the image. I'm not going to go through that whole process again because I don't need to. But I can, I mean, and if you look at my card, I have certain images I put out to the side. I just use this same Google Drawing over and over and over again. If I want to do something with a different image, I just change it here. If I want to go back, if I've edited this 6 times, I can just go back to version history, just like you do with Google Docs. I can go to my version history and I can look at other things that I've done in the past. Okay, yeah, that was another one I did before. So I can use it over and over again, download the image and then upload it to that card. And then, do you see how this shows up here? I don't want kids clicking on that because I really could care less about that part. So when I go to edit my card, it stays here. I'm not going to click this X, but if I click this X down here, the image stays, but now I don't have to worry about the kids trying to click on anything or getting emails about permissions for this image and that image. You can add images to, I believe, I want to say you can't add it to everything. I don't know that you can add it to the evidence cards, because each card only allows one upload, one media piece, as far as I'm aware. So if I have a Google form, I can't have an image up here. If I have like this other thing here, I can't have more than one. The research tab, I can have as many as I want. I think on this one, I can only have 1, 2 as well. So you'll have to play with that, but I know for sure I can only have 1 on the evidence card. So you'll notice I also have a YouTube video that I've embedded in here. The kids can watch it right in the screen, but it's like super tiny. So if I click on this, I can watch it. Oh, it's loud in my ears. I can make it full screen, but I don't think it takes me out to YouTube unless I actually click on this YouTube link. And so yes, kids can go out to YouTube, and then, you know, who knows, they may get distracted. So remember, if you ever want your kids to watch a video from YouTube, but you don't want them to get all distracted with the, not that you can control it, they're home, they're doing their thing. But you could embed it in a Google slide, and then they would only be able to see the video that you've put in the slide. They wouldn't go out to YouTube, it would keep it right there. Let's see what else. So I had the image, I had the, I know there's more, but sections. Okay. So you may be aware, these little plus signs here, you can add cards to the bottom as well. You can drag and drop them into different spaces. And one thing, so I added a section down here called daily check-in. So I've seen different workspaces, and if you go through the Discover, you can kind of see the different workspaces they have. But aside from the basic columns that you may set up as goals, resources, evidence, and rubrics, when there's nothing in this column, in fact, let me delete both of these so you can see what happens here. There's nothing on these, so. There's like a little description of what this is, and while that sits up here at the top for you, if you wanted your learning spaces to start here and just have them go by section, like daily check-in, or you know, your actual lessons that you're giving, or extra enrichment activities, you could do that in those sections. The only thing I think you can't do is I don't think you can drag, well, this one you can move them up. Oh, I can move it up. So I just can't, and I can move it down. This one doesn't have anything. I've tried to delete that, but that doesn't, I think that just stays there.
Melissa,
Yes.
could you kind of review again how you place the video on the card?
Absolutely. Thank you. So let me create another one here. So as a resource, I think, you know, I need another really cool video. So I'm just going to call this, oh, I call that one ecosystem video. We'll call this habitat. How about that? Habitat. If I could type. And I'm going to go out to YouTube. Oh, that's good enough. YouTube. Now, you know, when I'm searching for videos for kids, for sure, what I don't want is to have, like, let's see, home sweet habit. Let's say I like this polar bear. Ooh, there's a habitat song. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is check the filter, because I do not want a 25-minute thing in there. So I can choose the duration of something that's short. I need to keep their attention. And oh, let's say I got an oceans habitats. Let's say I like this one. It's only 2 minutes long. So I click on the video. I don't think you guys could hear that. Grab the share so I can copy the link. Come back over to my space. I'm going to put the link right here. Command Shift or Command V and paste it. There's the video. And I'm going to put this just in my teacher planning group and my marine group, since that was on oceans. So maybe I'm trying to help out my kids. I'm getting them started with a video. Then I might say, you know, watch the video, add questions to your Cornell notes or whatever. And I can use this. I don't know if I like any of those icons. Maybe I'll make it a must do. And I think the must do's I tagged with a star. So maybe I really want them to watch that video because obviously I would watch it first, but I can tag it with that and I click out. So now the video is in there and then I want it to match my marine group. So I will paint it that color. So if I sort for marine, the only thing that people in the marine will see is something that either says all groups or if it's part of their group. So now I've got the video in here and they can watch that. So hopefully that was helpful. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, so one thing I wanted to mention, is there anything else, any other questions on that? Because I'm assuming a lot. If you're in this group, I'm assuming that you understand how to do quite a few things and I'm really open to questions and I'm almost done here. I just want to talk about this daily check-in thing because, you know, our kids, if you attended anything or when you were any of the sessions yesterday, or I'm not sure what your administrator said to you in the meetings that you had yesterday morning, but some of our kids really miss you a lot. And I'm not even in a classroom and I miss those kids, you know, that I get to see when I go in. And, you know, some of them may not be doing so well. And so it's kind of a good idea to check in with them. One of the suggestions was to create maybe a daily check-in. I've seen some where they literally put a new check-in every day, but if you use Google Forms, you can create a daily check-in. So on this card, I just created this section, daily check-in. I've got a relaxing nature sounds over here. I can add other things like maybe a Padlet, and I'll show you how to add a Padlet in if you would like to do that. But on this card, just let me know, fill out the form. So if you look at the form, and I think I grabbed this information from like just an internet search on daily check-in wellness or something. I got a place for them to put, I am collecting their email address, but I want them to put their first and last name because I do not have students' ID numbers memorized. I'm sure you don't either, unless you're like savant or something. So how are you feeling today? Added some little emojis. I'm doing great, okay, meh, not so great. Do you have anything to tell me? Because maybe they just want to chat with you. And some other questions you might think about adding is, were you able to find all of your work? And what questions do you have? Not do you have any questions, because they'll just say no. But maybe what questions you have, and maybe you can make that required. I didn't. And in the permission settings, I do not have limit to one response checked, so that when the kids fill out the form, they can go back. I don't have to put a new form in there for the next day because it timestamps it. So if I leave this like this, as soon as they're finished, they can go back and click on the same thing tomorrow, and they can put how they're feeling that day, and it'll just timestamp it when I look at it on the Google Sheet that's connected. Responses will show up here. I can look at them. It'll be a summary or independent. I can connect it to a spreadsheet, and on that spreadsheet, I can see the timestamp so I know that it's a different day, and I can sort by day. Or I could just have that as one of the questions. I could add in a question right here and say, you know, put today's date. And then, you know, it has a date option. Let me show you what that looks like. Question mark here. If I have that as a question, let's say I make that required on the preview, what it looks like is it gives them a format and a calendar so they can choose the day. So that might be a way to track it a little bit easier than a timestamp, because a timestamp will actually put the literal time in like 6 digits. So this might be a question that you want to add to that on that daily check-in. If you decide to do one, it's a good idea. Close, I don't like extra tabs. Jerry knows this. I found a video that, and you also got to be careful on some of these, because some of them, while they're very relaxing, have additional spiritual religious things, and you want to be careful that you don't step on anybody's toes there. This one is just water sounds. It says nature zen, but it's just water sounds. It's like a waterfall. It's really nice and relaxing. But maybe after this first week, and you've talked to the kids a little bit about digital citizenship and about, you know, how we respond to each other, you could add Like I'm gonna add over here our inspiring others. And I will say visit our Padlet and offer an encouraging word. I'm doing this one nice because I'm actually going to keep this workspace. I like it. Offer an encouraging word, a funny and appropriate meme, oops, or just something to make us smile. I have a problem with that space bar, don't I? Okay. And then drag the media here. What's the media? Well, I've got to go grab my Padlet. So on a new tab, Padlet, go to my Padlet. I've created an inspiration board on Padlet. I have a column called inspiring words, one called images, questions for thought. I can add a column, miscellaneous, anything other. And if you're not really familiar with Padlet, you can email any of us coaches. We can set up a Google Hangout with you or a Zoom Meet. I prefer Zoom, just saying. And then we can kind of walk you through this or just go play with it. But here's where a chance where kids can add whatever they want, their thoughts. And just a little helpful hint here on the settings. When you come down here and you pick your font and all this and where the post should appear, if you are comfortable with your kids allowing them to comment on each other's posts, you can go ahead and enable that. I wouldn't do that to start, and you can also have this tab selected where it says require approval. In other words, they can submit it, you'll be able to see it, but until you approve it, nobody else will. And then there's this fun little filter of profanity where if there's any bad words, it'll replace it with nice emojis. So maybe they have some kind of a funny little quote we're saying, but maybe it has one bad word, but maybe the quote itself is inspiring. You know, that might do it for you. And if it doesn't quite do it the way you think and you post it and all of a sudden you go, eek, you know, you can delete it. So, because you, as moderator, you have that ability. Yeah.
Quick question. So, Padlet is great, right, Zach? I agree with that. Can you show again, perhaps maybe when you're done with Padlet, how to put that in and also how to put the form in again? So we need maybe a review.
Absolutely. So I'm going to show the Padlet part right now, how to put that in, because I'm creating it right here, right? I'm creating the Padlet. I just clicked on a plus to create a new card, typed the name of my Padlet. Ooh, my mouse just got really big for a second. Did you see that? That was exciting. Oh, I did like this. Look what I just learned. I learned something new today. Ooh,
yay.
I'm excited.
Where'd it go? I don't see it. Go to the left.
I'm on inspiring others. Do you see my mouse is on?
Yeah.
Okay. If I jiggle, did you see that?
No.
Oh, darn.
Sorry. Oh, darn. I know. And there's a spotlight thing that I haven't been able to use either, but we'll keep practicing, right? Yeah.
Boogers. Okay. Well, anyway, so again, I'm going to link to this Padlet. So here's the link, but I have to go grab my link. So I come out to my board. And again, how I got here on my board, it's the cog settings wheel. Do you see where it says modify? Is my mouse the little hand on the modify? Can you see that? I don't know what's being shared here. Can you see that I clicked on the cog wheel? If I go here, do you see me hovering over the cog wheel?
Yeah.
Okay. So I click on that and I can change my icon too. This is mind blowing. I can put Lovey Heart Face and you'll see how it changed over here on the far left, inspiration board. And I can choose my own unique address. So this is a Padlet.com with my name because it's my Padlet account. And I've called it Inspire Others. So I'm going to copy that link to my clipboard, which is my invisible copy save space. I'm going to come back to my thing here. I'm going to click my workspace. I'm going to click the link, Command V to paste my Padlet and hit a plus. And you'll see this was the image of my background. I don't know if this will show up on the card, but now I have my Padlet connected and I want it to be available to all groups. I want everybody, after I've showed them how to do this. And Yeah, the image doesn't seem to show up on there, and I don't know why. I'll make that one purple because why not? And I'm wondering if I can add another image. Okay, you know what? There's one way to find out. Wonder if I can add something else. I don't think I can. It doesn't look like it'll let me. Let me try to grab this Hapara header. Oops. Sorry. Not what I meant to do. If I hit upload and drag this header there. No, it doesn't seem to change it. If I click out, no. If I refresh my screen, let's see what happens. Sometimes you got to refresh. Yeah, no, didn't do it. Okay. So there you go. I wish this is so pretty. I wish it would stay, but okay. Oh no, why do I have two? What is going on? Oh, I had already created one. I got so excited I already created it once. So it was this one, Jerry, and then what was the other thing? Oh, the form, how I put the form in?
Yeah.
Okay, so on this one, my how you doing, how I put the form in, I'll just create another one.
Quick question. Why are you putting it in
This column versus the
column?
other?
Yeah.
Because I can.
I thought that was a column that's with, no?
So up at the top here, this is the goals column kind of a thing. So maybe for this section, and you don't have to, you could do whatever you want with it, right? I'm hearing sound cut in and out, and I don't know if that's me. Can you still hear me okay? Maybe, since I can't see anybody, if there's anybody who has their video going right now. Okay, if anybody has their video going right now, because I'm looking and it looks like Jerry's getting really like glitchy. So if you could maybe shut your video off just in case, and then we'll turn it back on in a little bit. I'm already, I think, talking way longer than I had wanted to. So, but not that I want to, I want to answer all the questions for sure. And we'll turn this open up. But let me go back over here to the how, hang on a second. I'm gonna do this because I was doing my little Joey thing earlier. How you doing? Writing your description in here, and then I'm gonna add that form that I pre-created because my personal, the way I feel about it is I don't wanna create something new. Well, I wanna have it already created and then just pull it in. That's me. You do you, however you wanna do it. If you're like, oh, hey, I'm gonna create a check-in, I'm gonna do it right now. You can create new, but I've noticed that it only allows these 4. So I think that's why I went to the outside and created my form first, and then went to my drive to upload it. But you could create a doc and then just say, hey, type your feelings on here. I could put a drawing up and let everybody write on the same drawing and do how they want to do. If I create a new drawing, what would it have me do? Let's see. It's probably going to open a whole drawing. Yeah, it is. It's going to open up a whole drawing. So I could create that, leave that there, and there'll be a new drawing, but I don't want that. So let me delete that. I would go to my Google Drive, and I created a form, and I think I called it daily check-in. Give it a minute here. Daily check-in right here. That drops the form in. And I believe I did have to make sure that it was available. Let me check on it and see. I might click on it and see. I think I did have to make sure in my settings. Yeah, so I've got the show link to submit another response checked off so that the kids can do it each day.
Does Hapara automatically give you the view form when you stick it in there?
I do believe so.
Or do you have to do that? Okay.
I do believe so. If you're worried about that, and I'm not sure, because I remember when I did a Hapara workspace training before, I had to play with this a couple of times, and they were like, I can't see it, I can't get in. So if anybody has used it or put a form in there and you know something about the settings, go ahead and share that in the chat right there.
I know that Nadine was able to put in 2 videos on 1 card, so that was really cool.
Yeah, on the resource one, you can add as many things as you want to 1 card. So that's kind of cool. And if you have kids who are sharing, they can, if they are adding cards, if you have that feature available where kids can add their own cards, then maybe have them edit their own card if they want to continue to add more resources to their own card instead of a new card for each one. I've got too many tabs open again. It's bothering me. So yeah, I know. I've got my pin tabs here. So,
and it's worth noting that thinking about how you want to set up kind of a routine on Hapara that students are used to, you know, with the color coding and, you know, having the same thing. And so starting them slow. You don't want to give them too much all at once, right? You want to let them make it simple for them. Have that single source of their classroom that they can start slow and work up to, right? And you too, right, as a teacher. Sorry.
Yep. So this is just me being silly. This is one of the reasons why this is so much fun. I know, I'm a little weird. It's okay. So I'm going to, again, I like this image, so I'm going to download as a PNG, maybe JPEG, who knows. Come over to my Workspace. I'm going to upload that one. And then there's my form. And now that I've uploaded my image, again, I can get rid of that little header there. Fill out the form. Kiss, kiss, love, love, XOXO. And assign it to all groups. And I'm done, but I want it to match, so I choose that.
You do know you're not screen sharing right now, right?
I'm not screen sharing? Are you sure?
I don't see your screen.
Can you ask anybody else if they can see my screen? Because I have not stopped screen sharing.
Okay, but other people can see it, so it's just me. Okay, I'll work on that.
Okay. Ooh, I was worried. I'm like, oh no, what have I been doing? Okay.
Well, now I have to figure out how I'm doing it better. So there you go.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for giving us the affirmation on that. I was a little worried. I was like, oh no, how long has this been going on? Okay.
Well, I'll have to figure out why mine's not sharing. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Your mic is also glitching again, Jerry.
Oh boy. Internet connectivity, man.
At least I think it's yours. Could be my ears are glitching. Who knows? So go ahead and, yeah, we'll see if I don't hear anything else. Okay. I think, I just want to check because I don't want to miss any questions. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow, I know it's been an hour, and I think for the most part I've talked about, what I didn't talk about, let me come over here real quick, is the cards here, the evidence cards. So I'm going to touch on this real quick, and then I'm going to allow participants to unmute themselves. Even though we still have 60 people in here, which is great. Thank you so much for hanging in, guys. I really appreciate it. So like on this example for photo essay, this is one of the reasons why I like Hapara for this, for like especially group work, better than I do Google Classroom. Because in Google Classroom, if I want to assign something to a group, I could make, for example, a slide deck, and then I could assign it in Google Classroom and pick, Abner and Phoebe and Diogi and Snoopy and assign it just to them. But every time I want to do something, I have to remember who's in my group and go and assign it. Whereas here in Hapara, I've already got my groups with their specific people in them. Abner's in everybody's group. But I have my groups that are already assigned. And when I assign this to a group, if somebody in the group clicks on it, the first person to click on it becomes the owner of it. Let me show you what that looks like. So just like on a new card, it asks you to upload something. So I uploaded this, probably an empty slide deck. I can schedule the start date so that they don't see the card until I'm ready for them to see it. Maybe I create it today, but I don't want them to see it till next Tuesday. I can schedule it so that it goes out on April 7th. And I can put a due date on here of, let's see, they're doing some research, April 7th, Friday, 3 days. This is probably more than enough time, or not. But, and this has got the little light bulb icon because those were one of my may do's. They can choose which one they do. And when I hit done, I can see, I gave it a date now. I can see who started it. So if I click on that, I can see the rainforest group started on this one. I can filter by all the groups, a specific group, by what's been submitted. If I've graded it, well, how will I know if I've graded it? I can go to the grade sheet, and it has all the groups listed here, what their group is on. I can see the different assignments. This is my grade sheet here for the different assignments that I've given. These are the different cards I have in my resource. You'll see biome survey, graphic organizer, photo, essay, video, drawing. Those are the different cards in my evidence column. So I can see when I click on this, when I look at my grade sheet, I can put my grades in here and keep track of it. And now the all-important question that I'm sure is out there, does this import to Infinite Campus? Does anything import to Infinite Campus? No. Sorry, no. But if your screen's large enough, like the screens that we have at work, you could like drag your screen over and maybe look at it half sheet. I don't know what you're seeing, if my screen's just getting smaller to you, or I think it is just getting smaller. I don't think you're seeing the other half of my desktop, but.
Plus, we're not really emphasizing grades right now anyway, where just grades are not in feedback's important.
Yes, Jerry, thank you for mentioning that, because yesterday in my meeting, Kelly Jensen asked me to specifically remind teachers that we are not taking grades until week 6, and we are currently in week 3, even though this is the first week 1 of actual like online teaching. This is considered week 3 because the first week we were off, spring break is considered week 2 for whatever reason. So we are in week 3 and they're saying no grades until week 6. So, but that doesn't mean no feedback. So you still want to be giving your students feedback and letting them know. I've had people ask about, well, if I return them a grade, and I wouldn't return them any grades. I would return feedback and say there is no grade because I expect you to work on this and resubmit it or whatever. So we can still get their best work out of them. Okay, somebody, let me go to my annotate and see if I can erase that. I don't know if I can. Somebody drew on my screen there. Maybe I drew on my screen. Anyway, I was wondering why there's this little yellow thing on my screen that just happens to stay there. Okay. Oh shoot, now how do I turn that off? Okay, I'm going to stop my share right now because this is messing me up. And I gotta like reconfigure. Okay, I'm gonna go back and share again, just because I need to. Oh, my desktop.
You have to click the little cursor button. It takes a while to learn these tools.
It does, but I'll be honest with you, I love Zoom. I love Zoom a lot more than Google Meet. And just because, nothing against Google Meet, except for the fact that I've noticed so far, quality of video and audio is way better on Zoom. But on the downside, there are no captions available in Zoom unless somebody else is designated to type them. So keep that in mind. That's kind of an important thing. All right.
And there are fewer tools on Google Meet, but at the same time, fewer tools can be a nice thing at times, depending on the operator, the host.
Right. So let me come back to this because, and I'll hit present here. One thing I wanted to make sure I share before I finish here, because I know I've been talking for a very long time, is that if you scan that code, I did it from my phone. In fact, I'm going to do it again from my phone right now just to make sure that it still works. If you scan this code, hello, and it takes you to the tutorials of Hapara, all the tutorials you could ever want or need. Yeah, it worked from my phone. Here is the link, and I will put that link in the chat in a minute, unless Jerry can grab it. I'm gonna leave that up on the screen for a minute so that if you wanna scan that with your iPad or your phone, you can. But that's a link to all the tutorials. Their videos, they were just created last, like about 7 to 10 days ago. So they are all brand new. It's not like something from 3 years ago.
That's great because people, there have been a lot of recently and have those fresh tutorials. It's a little hard for me to capture that. So maybe you could stick it in the chat.
Okay, I will totally put that in chat. Okay. Yeah, your microphone's kind of glitchy right now. It's kind of a shame.
Oh,
I know. I mean, I understood you, but yeah, okay. I'm going to go off this because there's another really important thing I'm going to talk to you about, which is this, some additional support. There's a hotline number right there, a tech hotline, 661-789-6600 for staff, students, and parents. Share that with your parents if you would like. The Learning at Home website, if you have not seen it, it's on the Palmdale School District website, featured really big. I'll click on that and open that up real quick. This is something that we've created. It's got the online learning guidelines, Chromebook request form, and how parents can get internet services. There's a tutorial on how to get hooked up with ClassLink from their home devices. And again, we do have to throw that reminder out there. Sometimes parents forget that they have to, or students forget that in order to access Google Classroom, they have to be logged into Chrome with their school ID, their 8-digit number at palmdalesd.org. They cannot get in there with a Gmail. There's all kinds of resources down here: language arts, math, science, social studies, special ed's got like 5 pages, art and music, and PE. There's some television resources, Spanish resources, and other stuff. These Google experiments are super cool. Check them out. Okay, so there's that tab. And then our PSD EdTech website, where you can go later today and you will be able to access our webinar recordings. Here was our, they'll be on this tab right here. So here's the ones from yesterday. Beginning Google Classroom is the first one up. So, okay, I guess that's the only one he has right now. Oh, there's a playlist. Look at that. Click on the hot dog. Oh, hey, if I read, I would know. Click on the list or hot dog menu to see all the videos in the playlist. So we've got 4 videos up there. There's some remote teaching resources. Teach from home, free PD for teachers, some class
we
link.
Had a quick question, Melissa, that you may or may not know. Is my audio better, first of all?
Right now it is. We'll see
okay,
how long it lasts.
I know, right? Is there any way that parents can get hotspots, especially if they don't have credit cards? Do you know? You might not know that. I don't.
As far as like maybe checking out Kajits, that part I don't know. It might be on that Chromebook. It might be on the
PS
Chromebook request form. It might be.
Yeah.
Letter.
I do know that thing, they're rolling out this Chromebooks over time at each school site. So I asked, an administrator asked me about it yesterday, but I really think each site is going to be, you know, figuring out things as we go. I mean, I think some of these details are going to be bit at a time. Okay.
Yeah, could be.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna, I think that's my last, yeah, that's my last slide. So I'm gonna stop sharing. And I'm going to go into participants. And so even though there's 56 of you out there, this kind of sort of concludes it. I'm going to leave the recording on for a little bit longer in case any questions come up and I need to pop back on. But if you want to, if you have any questions, I'm going to figure out how to unmute you all. No, not unmute you all. I'm going to click on mute all, and I'm going to allow participants to unmute themselves. So continue. So now you can unmute yourself if you have a question. Otherwise, that's all we're doing today. Thank you so much for coming out or listening. I know you could have spent your time doing other things, so thanks for checking in. And also, if you have any other questions, you can, everybody seems muted again. Oh, okay, but you should be able to unmute yourself. If you can't, let Jerry know. Can you see? Okay, oh, my background, oh. Thanks, Janet. That's another thing I like about it. I mean, not that my background is bad. I'm not hiding a messy kitchen behind me or anything. But I like that I can.
Yeah, don't believe her. She's got a messy kitchen right back there.
Oh, well, no, if my messy kitchen, it's going to be over there. It's not here.
Okay.
But I can choose a virtual background. This was the background. Let me show you the background I was going to use for today. It was this one. I was going to have my Hapara background. Thanks so much for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email Jerry or myself or Steve or Dan. And I am available, well, not today because I'm teaching all day today, but after 3, I'm available. And then I think check my calendar. Oh, that's what I wanted to share was the link to our calendars. So you could check our calendars, and a lot of us have Zoom Hangout or Zoom meetings where you can jump in and chat with us. We'll be like, it's like office hours. So let me go and grab that. I have it. I do have it. Hang on a second. Let me share my screen. Still recording because that needs to be shared. And it is, let's see, is it this website? No. Is it? Oh, here's the Hapara website, by the way. Let me refresh this. Oh, that's not the one. That's just the evidence cards in Workspace. Okay, fine. Let me hit back. Maybe this was the one with my list. Oh yeah, this is what it looked like when you clicked on that. If you scan that QR code,
you
get this whole list. I know, right? Oh,
hopefully they're short.
I forgot to mention, you know, highlights. You may have checked out highlights and you might love that in the classroom, but for remote learning, it's completely useless. You can't share anything with students. You can't open links for them. You cannot see their screens. And honest to God, why would you want to? So that's privacy issues. So they're outside of our control. So highlights is don't even think about it right now. Workspace.
So could you use Dashboard to push things into the students' drives or share?
Totally. Okay. Oh, this is what I was going to share. Our virtual meeting calendars. So on our PSD EdTech website, which Jerry put the link in there, if you click on our virtual meeting calendars, it takes you to another site. And here's our calendars here. So there's Steve's, there's Dan's, there's mine. I don't know if I've actually put, but if you hit this pop out, it'll actually take you to the calendar for any of them. And some of us have Zoom meeting in there. You just join the Zoom meeting. I don't think I have mine in there yet. No, those are my reminder refreshers. I don't have them in there yet, but I will put them in there for Thursday and Friday. I'm not exactly sure my office hours are because we are now jumping into some of those other Hangouts or those other Zoom meetings. So I will have that up soon, and maybe Jerry.
I had an office hours open yesterday where I just opened my camera and I just listened to see if anybody jumped in. Right. And no one did yesterday, but yesterday was, we have to be patient with all of ourselves.
So again, virtual meeting calendars. So I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to stop recording now. So thank you all for coming out. Have a great day and good luck this week. If you need us, let us know and we will be there for you. And I am stopping the recording.